Hey, what's up, killers? It is your final girl, Mel, and this is my my killer podcast. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are new here, I am not only on YouTube, I am also on Instagram, Letterboxd, TikTok, Twitter, and Patreon. I'm also part of a Discord group called The Movie Room. And no, I am not always this color. I had a wedding to go to this weekend, so I'm all tanned up. I know I look a little, but surely my skin tone will go back to normal eventually. I will not look like a mandarin orange for very long. So I apologize for this. I also want to let everybody know that I am feeling better. Thank you so much for the well wishes from all of you. I really do appreciate it. It really touched my heart to hear from all of you. So thank you for that. I am right as rain and I sound fine. Yay! So today we are going to be going over my Letterboxd watches for the month of March. I did end up watching quite a few things because I did end up getting a little sicker than I previously thought I would last week, and I had to take a couple days off work, so I watched quite a few movies whilst I laid in bed. So it wasn't all bad. But without any further ado, we're going to jump right on into it because, like I said, there's quite a few. So starting off the month of March, I did watch Boys from County Hell. So this is a vampire movie and it's just a fun, cheesy little flick. It was actually a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. I did give it 3 stars and a heart. There were just a few things about it that I wish they would have done a little differently. However, I did really enjoy this one. It was pretty fun, so do check it out if you have time. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about each one of these just because I want to get through all of them. But next up, I did end up watching Dracula because I picked it up from a sale and I felt like I needed to see it. It sounded really cool. I gave it 3 stars. I didn't give it a heart just because it's not that I didn't like it. It's just there were certain moments in the flick that just droned on a little too long. I would say if you guys are interested in weirder vampire flicks, maybe check this one out. But otherwise, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's worth jumping on immediately. I did go watch The Batman. I did a review of this previously on my channel, so if you want to check out that video, I will link it below. I did give it 4 stars and a heart. I liked it quite a bit. I liked the Batmobile the most, I feel like. I also popped over to Hulu and watched Fresh. So this is a movie that recently dropped on Hulu. It's brand new. It has Sebastian Stan in it, and I was a little on the fence about this one. I wasn't really sure what it was going to be like and how I was going to feel about it. It ended up not being quite what I thought, so I liked it a lot. I gave it 4 stars and a heart. I definitely recommend going and checking this one out. It's fun, it's thrilling, it's kind of gory, and it's just quirky in all the right ways. It's like definitely right up my alley of kind of flicks I enjoy watching. So you guys know what that means. So if you enjoy the same flicks I do, definitely go check this one out. It had me laughing. It had me, on the edge of my seat. It had all the things. It also had some moments where I was like, so if those are the kind of moments you like seeing in a movie, this one's for you. Next up on the list is Communion. I actually picked this one up from Shout Factory. I believe it was a limited release where they only made like 6,000 copies or something like that. However, the film itself, when I got it in the mail, it didn't have a number on it. So that would have been kind of cool if they would have numbered them, but whatever. I gave it 3 stars and a heart. This is an alien movie. I did enjoy this one. It has Christopher Walken in it. It was really weird. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you by the end of the movie I understood everything that happened because I really didn't. I left this flick not really sure what actually happened in the end, but it was it was entertaining enough to keep me engaged the whole time. So definitely check that one out if you are a fan of alien movies or just like, you know, watching Christopher Walken, because he's truly a national treasure. So the next flick I watched was Alley Cat. I purchased this physical from Vinegar Syndrome after watching the trailer and reading the synopsis. I felt like it was right up my alley. I felt like I was really going to enjoy it. You know how I like my chick ass kicking movies. However, I did not enjoy this one at all. Unfortunately, this is the first movie that I have put on my Letterboxd that got a 1 star. I only gave this 1 star. Normally, I don't like rating movies badly because movies are so subjective. A movie that I really like, somebody else might hate. You know what I mean? So it's just movies are so subjective, and I hate giving any movie a bad rating just because I really want to promote films and physical media. So it's not really my jam to tell anybody that a movie is bad. However, this one wasn't good. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I didn't like it. I didn't appreciate it. So a recommendation from Born to Be Rad, he recommended to me Tough Turf because it has a very young James Spader in it, and I am a big fan of young James Spader. It's not that I'm not a fan of old James Spader, I just don't watch a lot of his stuff now, and the young James Spader is what I watched back in my childhood, so there's a lot of nostalgia there for me. But Born to Be Rad recommended this one to me, so I did buy the physical and I checked it out, and I actually really did like it. It definitely had that 80s feel to it, which, you know, I love my movies that have that 80s feel. It ended up not quite being what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be one of those kind of quirky, fun, coming-of-age flicks where, you know, there's like a good group of teens and a bad group of teens and they kind of battle it out or whatever. This one actually ended up being a lot more real. Like, people are really kicking each other's asses and trying to hurt each other, and like people even kind of die, and it ended up being a lot more raw than I thought it was going to be, but I really enjoyed it. I felt like it was very entertaining. Plus it had Robert Downey Jr. in it, and you know, he's my jam. He's my jam. So to see him so young in a movie was really interesting. Okay, so the next movie I watched was Demonic. I picked this up when it dropped last month, and I was super excited to watch it. The trailer looked really interesting, but in the end, I gave it 3 stars. I didn't give it a heart. It was okay for a horror flick, but it just wasn't. I wanted a little more from it. I wanted it to be scarier. The main antagonist of the flick was just, it was uninteresting. It was uninspired. I wanted more from this movie in the way of demonic possession, and because that's the stuff that really freaks me out, you know? So I thought this movie was going to be scarier than, maybe that's what it is. I thought this movie was going to be scarier than what it ended up being. So in the end, I was just kind of like, well, whatever. Then I watched Tragedy Girls. So I purchased this physical from Vinegar Syndrome, but I haven't gotten it in the mail yet. So I've just been kind of waiting around and really wanting to watch it. Well, I ended up stumbling across this one on a streaming network. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna watch it. So I ended up watching it. I did give it 3 stars and a heart. I really had fun with this one. It was just, it was an interesting twist on the reality of today and streaming networks and all of that kind of thing. I don't know, it was just really quirky and it was fun, and I liked the 2 lead actresses. I thought they did a really great job. So I don't know, it's weird coming of age flick in the way society is today, and it's just quirky and fun. So if you dig that kind of horror, dig into that one. The next flick I decided to check out was Nerf. Surf Nazis Must Die. I intended to do a movie review for this one, which I did do on my channel. I have a video that I posted previously. I will link that below if you want to check it out. Basically, this movie just recently dropped a new physical release, so I did pick it up. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to watch it. But I also wanted to do a movie review for it because there is a documentary that's dropping soon. Here it is about Dookie Flyswatter, who is featured in this movie. So I did a movie review on this one, so I could kind of announce that documentary, which I do believe all of you should check out. I will link it in the description below. It's going to be a fun one. The Indiegogo is going to launch this month, so watch for that if you want to participate in helping sponsor that documentary to be made. And hopefully when it's done, I will get to review it of some kind on my channel. Look out for more information on that in the future on my platforms, all of them. So I'm going to explain this one a little bit. I did give it 2 stars, but I did give it a heart. So I enjoyed this movie for what it was because it's a trauma film. And what you need to know about trauma is it's not going to be for everyone. And these movies are really out there and they're wild and they're ridiculous and they cross so many lines. So it's a very particular flavor of film for certain people. So I gave it 2 stars because I'm not going to recommend this movie to a lot of people. I'm not going to recommend this movie to most people, but there are a select few people who do appreciate trauma movies for what they are because it's an experience. It's a wild ride. You watch these movies because you want to be entertained and you want to go on that ride and engulf yourself in that experience. But you're not watching these films because you want to see Oscar-nominated performances and whatnot. You know what I mean? So I gave it that heart because I was entertained by it and I enjoyed going on that ride with this film. But it's not a great movie. It's not well performed. The dialogue is terrible. The cinematography is whatever, but it's entertaining to say the least. So I'm not going to recommend that people watch this, but if you do enjoy trauma, then maybe check this one out. So that's my explanation of my 2 stars, but it still got a heart situation. So the next one I watched is Triangle. So this is an interesting one. I kept hearing about this one on social media, and I just found what I was hearing fascinating about it. So when I found it on streaming, I had to watch it. I gave it 4 stars and a heart. This isn't an amazing film. Just the way that it tracks through the movie, this woman's experience and what happened. So it's basically a group of people go out on a boat ride and they fall into a storm and then the boat gets wrecked and then they end up having to jump on this very large vessel. And then the movie kind of takes place there. But it's just one of those really weird, twisty movies. Like every turn, there's a new twist. Like it follows itself back to where it started, and then you see how she got there. And it's just really crazy. I couldn't give it a full 5 stars because I really wanted it to end a certain way. I really wanted something. I don't want to give it away because this movie has so many twists and turns in it, and it's a psychological thriller. It's just mind-boggling. But I just really needed it to come full circle, and to me, it just didn't come full circle. And it was based on one outfit change that they did. I feel like if they would have just changed her outfit, that it could have almost come full circle. You know what I mean? Or maybe I just didn't understand the end when it happened. I don't know. You guys watch this film and explain to me what happens in the end. I know none of this is making sense, and it's not making sense because I don't want to ruin this flick for you guys. So just know to watch it. It's psychological. There's some gore in it. It's a great flick. If you enjoy movies that take place out in the middle of the ocean, which I find terrifying as well, just in general, check that one out. It's very interesting. So then I watched Cuffs. I got my Shout Factory Shout Select sale items in the mail, and I wanted to check one of them out, and Cuffs was one of them that I purchased. So I watched it. I gave it 3 stars and a heart. It's just it's kind of a cop flick, you know? It's kind of a fun little ditty. I know that wasn't a great explanation of that one, but that's all I got for you. A friend from work let me borrow his Matrix Resurrections steelbook because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really want to buy this one because I kept hearing bad things about it. So I borrowed it from a friend and he let me watch it, and I gave it 3 stars and a heart. I actually didn't think this was that bad. I don't know. I don't really understand what other people's gripes with it was. It just seemed like, 2, 3 seemed like those, you know, it wasn't epic like the first one, but I don't feel like they changed too much about it. They just got stuck in a new world and they had to get them out. Like, what's the big deal? I didn't mind it. I gave it 3 stars and a heart. It was just kind of like, they didn't break any ground with it, but they didn't ruin anything either. I didn't feel like. I did end up watching Kanto. I gave it 4 stars and a heart. I enjoyed this one. I don't watch a lot of, you know, animated stuff, but this one surprised me. Did I understand the ending? Not at all. Did she get powers or did she not get powers? Somebody explain this to me. But it was a cute little film and the music was good. I, to this day, have some of those songs stuck in my head. I also watched Turning Red because I was hearing some crazy things about this one, so I felt like I needed to check it out. And yeah, the subject matter is a little weird, to say the least. I gave it 3 stars and a heart. I didn't like it the first time I watched it. I got the ickies from it. But after watching it a couple hundred more times after that, I appreciate it for what it is. The songs are great, and I don't know, it's entertaining. Do I still feel like the subject matter is a little weird? Yeah, I do. For the target audience of that flick, yeah, the subject matter is a little weird, but it is what it is. So now we're getting into the movies that I watched when I was sick. So I dove into a lot of my comfort movies, and I dove into a lot of the movies that I feel like don't get talked about enough, and I just wanted to watch them again. And I talked about a lot of these on The Five over on PlatX2's channel. I will link that below if you guys want to watch that episode. It was super fun doing it with him. He's an amazing guy, and he's so sophisticated, and the fact that he had the likes of me on his channel to do an interview was just amazing. But I'll link that below if you guys want to check it out. But I watched Night Watch. It stars Ewan McGregor. There's actually a laundry list of actors in this film. So there's Ewan McGregor, Patricia Arquette, Nick Nolte, Josh Brolin, Brad Dourif. All of these people are in this movie, and it's a horror movie based in like a hospital morgue, and Ewan McGregor is a security guard in the morgue, and he just has to watch over things, and it's fucking creepy as shit. And there's a serial killer out killing women, and their bodies are ending up in the morgue. So you can kind of see where I'm going with all of this, but it gets really weird and it's super gory, but it's very entertaining. I gave it 4 stars and a heart. I love that one. Next up on the list, I watched Who's That Girl? This is a movie that me and my brother used to watch all the time when we were kids. I just love Madonna in this one. It's a romantic comedy. Madonna gets put in jail wrongfully, so when she gets out, she makes it her mission to find the person that put her there, and the shenanigans ensue, and the funny, ridiculous situations she gets put in are just entertaining as all get out. So I gave it 4 stars and a heart, of course. I don't give a lot of movies 5 stars, so I'm just gonna put that out there. Next up is A Life Less Ordinary. This is also a Ewan McGregor flick. This one is really weird. I don't wanna say that it's a psychological thriller, but it is definitely a psychological romantic comedy thrill ride. Yeah, there you go. That's my description of this movie. I gave it 4 stars and a heart. I absolutely love it. It's weird, it's twisty, it's got some crazy things that happen in it. It's funny. It's definitely worth checking out. Give it some love. It does not have a Blu-ray, I don't believe, so you're gonna have to find it on DVD. Or maybe you can find it on a streaming network, but I personally have never seen it on one, so I don't know. Next up, I watched Gleaming the Cube. I have the DVD of this. This also does not have a Blu-ray release or a 4K, which is very unfortunate. It is a Vestron flick, though. So Vestron, if you're listening, anybody that works there, which I'm sure you're not, please put this one out in your series with a groovy slipcover. I would love that. This one did get 5 stars and a heart, though. This is an amazing film. It has a really deep message to it. It's not really a comedy. It's more like a drama. I mean, there are some funny parts in a dramedy. I don't know. But basically, Christian Slater's brother gets murdered, and he is trying to figure out who did it. And it's kind of a thrilling ride from there. But it has a bunch of kids skateboarding around California. What's not fun about that? Next up, I watched The Jerk. I got high recommendations from Tim Talks Talkies to watch this one. He said it was super funny, so I also bought this in the Shout Select sale, so I wanted to check it out because you guys know I love Steve Martin. He's just such a charmer. He's my jam. I love him. So I did check it out. I gave it 3 stars and a heart. I had some problems with the flick, but I found myself laughing quite a bit, and Steve Martin is just such a jam, so you can't not like his flicks. So next up, this one really surprised me. So I watched Valley Girl. I gave it 4 stars and a heart. I purchased this flick when it dropped in for the Shout Select line, and I never watched it because I bought it because I like Nicolas Cage, and it was like an old style Nicolas Cage, and I'm going to be completely honest, I really just liked the slipcover, or maybe not necessarily the slipcover, but the artwork. But I was delighted when I saw that it came with a groovy slip. But I just couldn't bring myself to watch it. And then finally, when I was laid up at home, I was just like, whatever, I'll throw it in and see what's happening with it. I liked it a lot. It is a romantic comedy. The fancy girl falls in love with the boy from the other side of the tracks kind of business. It's not groundbreaking in storytelling, but the performances were just super great. The story was fun. Specifically, Nicolas Cage's outfits, his fashion in this movie just sold me on it. It absolutely sold me on it. I loved his flair. It was, I don't know. I think maybe that is what stoked me a lot for this one, but it was just really good. I was super surprised by it. And you know, when a movie can super surprise you when you go in with like low or no expectations for it and it just blows you away, it makes it that much better. You know what I mean? I don't know. Definitely check that one out if you haven't watched it, or if you want to buy it, do it, because that one is definitely worth it. And then last but not least, for the month of March, I watched Pam and Tommy. This is the, I believe it's a mini series, but I guess I don't really know if they're going to come out with another season of it or not. But I gave it 4 stars and a heart. This is the miniseries on Hulu about Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee's sex tape being leaked and how that kind of went about and what happened during and all of the things. It also has Sebastian Stan in it, and he just does a phenomenal job in this TV series. It is just, his performance is just amazing. I understand that he's the Winter Soldier, and I got a bad taste in my mouth from him for being in the Marvel movies. I'm not sure why. I don't know. Please don't judge me on that. I was like, whatever. I didn't really care about him. But seeing him in Fresh and then seeing him in this TV series, it has just opened my eyes to what kind of actor he is, and I absolutely love him. I'm 100% on board with anything that he puts out from now on. I'm going to warn you, there's a lot of nudity in this one. You're going to see fronts and backs and weens and boobs and all the things. So I'm just going to tell you guys that now. You're going to see a lot of nudity. It is about a sex tape. So I don't think that should be very surprising. But I gave it 4 stars and a heart. I absolutely loved it. That is what I watched for the month of March, and those are my Letterboxd ratings. I did do written reviews for some of this stuff, so if you want to jog on over to my Letterboxd, it's linked below in the description box, and read some of those written reviews of these movies, go right ahead. I welcome you to follow me over there, whatever. That's basically where I do the majority of my movie reviews. Every once in a while I'll drop a video, but I don't do it all the time. I usually only drop videos for the movies I see in the theaters. If you want to hit me in the comments below and let me know what of these movies you've seen, what you like, what you are going to put on your to-watch list, let me know and we can have a conversation about these. But thank you so much for hanging with me today. If you'd like to further help support me and my channel, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and kill that bell for your orange girl, and share me with your friends if they love to tan. If you'd like to further help support me and my channel, log on over to my Patreon and see what's crappening over there. Not a lot, baby girl, just a little bit. It helps keep my dream alive, yourselves entertained, and these pretty lights on in the building. And I should have had orange lights up today. Anyway, until the next time we gather, have a killer day. Peace.